Taking Life Head On, episode number 26. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Taking Life Head On with Hal Elrod. I'm your host, Nick Paulkuski, and this is the podcast that is dedicated to empowering you to reach level 10 success in every area of your life. And I am super grateful that you actually joined us on this episode of the podcast, and I'm very grateful because you are going to be super thrilled by this episode. It's going to be talking about a subject that is very important to everyone out there. And so let's dive right into our interview with Hal, and I'm going to be grateful for you for taking notes. I want to thank you so much for joining us this week on the podcast.
My pleasure, Nick. My pleasure. I changed up the scenery, man. I moved the webcam. You guys are seeing a different view of my office.
I know, it's crazy. I was a little disoriented when I first saw that. I didn't know what we were doing.
I thought we got to make, after the pink stunner shades last week, I thought, we've got to keep mixing it up. It gets boring, I think, the same background every time. So, I don't know. There's only so many views in my office. I don't know what we'll do after this, but...
Yeah, we can... The ceiling view or something. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. I'll lay on the floor and hold my computer like this.
There you go. I like that. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Hal, what do you have for our quote this week?
Let's dive in, man. I've got company coming in town. I got to go help a friend move. My close friend, Peter Voog, just moved to town. I'm pumped up. One of my close friends lives like a mile from me now after living 2 states away. So I'm going to go help him move. And, so let's dive in. All right, today's quote, this is an easy one for me to talk about. Some of these, even though these are all my quotes, some of them are topics that I regularly talk about, whether it's in my speaking or coaching or from a book or whatever that I've written. But then some of them are, they're my quotes, but I don't focus on those subjects as much. I don't talk about them. So for these podcasts, I'm kind of having to really, think about where did that quote come from? What space was I in when I created it? However, today's quote is an easy one for me to talk about. And today's quote is about gratitude. And gratitude is such an important part of my life. In fact, it's been the topic of previous podcasts. It's something I talk about in my keynote message. It's something that's always around me, or I'm present to it, or I'm coaching on it, or teaching or talking. So here's the quote. If you want to jot this down, you can. Gratitude and complaining cannot coexist simultaneously. You must choose the one that best serves you. I'll say it again. Gratitude and complaining cannot coexist simultaneously. You must choose the one that best serves you. And the quote's pretty self-explanatory, but if you think about it, unfortunately, most people complain a lot. And in the space that is your life, or any given moment of your life, or any interaction with another human being, gratitude and complaining, they can't coexist in the same moment, right? If you're grateful, that's really an opposite of complaining. If you're complaining, it's being the opposite of grateful. So you can't do both at the same time, and you've got to be really aware. What are you doing more often? I see a lot of relationships where one person is complaining more often than not. And I think that that's really an indicator of, in a marriage or any relationship, really the health of that relationship, and it's in our control, meaning we can choose to focus a lot more on expressing gratitude to our partner, to our friends, to our family, or we can choose to focus on complaining, right? Either one really has an impact on how we feel about our relationships, but also how the people, especially how the people that are on the receiving end of either our complaining or our gratitude, how they're going to feel. And so this is about your relationships, but it's really about yourself. It's in any given moment of your life, what you focus on determines the quality of your life at that moment. And if you're complaining, you're focusing on what's wrong. And if you're expressing gratitude, whether it's verbally or just feeling it, or writing it down, journaling, typing, whatever you do, that really impacts the quality of your life. In fact, I have another quote, I think I do, that says the quality of your life is always directly in proportion to the amount of gratitude that you're present to, or the quality of gratitude that you're present to at any given moment. So, Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you for any thoughts, comments, questions, you name it.
Yeah, I just wanted to explore a little bit more. Why do you think that it's so easy, or why do we so often fall into that complaining trap? How come, it seems like our first instinct almost is to go to that complaining mode?
Yeah, I think it's conditioning. It's we've talked about that before. Typically, anything that we do, but all the time, it's because we're conditioned to do it. So unfortunately, most people complain. That means that you're exposed to complaining a lot more than you're exposed to gratitude, and therefore, you're conditioned that complaining is the normal way of being. It's the normal way of communicating. In fact, right, people one-up each other on their complaining. It's like, dude, listen to what happened to me, blah, 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 blah. And then the other person is just waiting like, oh, you don't even know, man. That's nothing compared to what happened to me. They're like, oh, man, that is bad. And then their brain is like searching for, man, how could I top that? How could I top it? What have I done that's worse? Ooh, I got something for it, right? And so there's this, it's not this competition of, wow, that's amazing. Because here's the thing. It's so weird. It's so warped how our society is. I don't know what it is, but if you one-up each other with complaints, it's like, it's okay. It's like socially acceptable. It's like, oh, wow, that is crazy, man. You got me. That's worse than mine. If you start expressing gratitude, which comes off to people as bragging, like, oh, you think that's great? Listen to what happened for me, right? Then they're like, they judge you, they don't like you, they're like, oh, you can one-up me with bad stuff, but don't you dare one-up me with something beautiful and wonderful and special in your life, because I judge you for that, and I don't like you people. I don't like people that are happier than me,
Yeah.
So I think that's
so
it. It's
crazy.
conditioning, man. If your mom and dad complained to you as a kid growing up, then you're probably, it's the sins of the parents, right? And you keep it going. Your friends complain to you, you complain back to them. So I think that's why. I think it's just conditioning.
Well, how do you start splitting from that family tree? Growing a new family tree, or so that it doesn't keep happening, so the sins of the parents don't keep coming up. How do you actually start reconditioning yourself?
Yeah, I really think it has to start in writing. It has to be in writing. You've got to, and when I say in writing, there's really a few different ways. It can start in writing with signs on the wall. I'm looking at my signs on the wall and see if I have any that talk about gratitude. Yeah, I am grateful for every moment, and I enjoy the journey because I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Right. So I've got signs so that's in writing, and it's a reminder to be grateful. I call my car the gratitude mobile. And it's not on the license plate yet, but because I can't decide if I want that or like Yo Pal Hal or Miracle Morning. I don't know. I can't decide. So right now it just says 6FGLB125 or whatever.
Oh,
but
that's inspiring.
Yeah, that's not really it, by the way. Don't try to look my car up. But no, the gratitude mobile, and I call it that, and it's just a nickname that I have for my car, so that whenever I'm in my car, and it's usually when I'm bored or I hit traffic, I default to gratitude. So rather than hit traffic and default to complaining, right, which is like, oh my gosh, traffic, I go, wow, this, cars are going slow, great opportunity to just slow down the pace of my life, take a deep breath, and just be grateful for everything. I'm driving a car. How cool is that? Go back 100 years, driving a car was like science fiction. It's amazing, right? And I don't know if science fiction existed back then, but grateful for wherever I'm going, wherever I came, just gratitude, period, So that's a reminder. I've got in my affirmations talk about what I'm grateful for. In fact, if you're not one of my Facebook friends or fans, go find me on Facebook. And my friends, I think I'm maxed out on friends, but you can subscribe now, so you can still essentially follow my post. But I just posted my affirmation for the other day. And now I got to tell you guys, hold on. And then you'll be like, we don't need to go to your page anymore because you told us, whatever. All right. Here we go. So my affirmation, and I think I've actually read this to you guys before because I think I pulled this once. It's from my own affirmations. So here was today's affirmation. I posted this a couple days ago. First and foremost, my life is perfect right now as it is. So pause and be grateful. I choose to experience love, joy, and gratitude in every moment. I already have everything I could ever need to be the happiest person on earth. It is simply up to me to remember that in every moment. So if you want to borrow that affirmation, if you want to take that affirmation and you want to include it in your daily reading, go to my Facebook page and copy and paste it, because that's my affirmation. That I didn't create that for Facebook. I didn't create that for anybody else. That's mine, and I read it, and it's one of the most important. My affirmations are long now. I mean, I'm always adding to them and they're like a short novel, right? But oh, Nick, did I tell you, by the way, my idea for rap formations?
You did not.
Oh, so I just bought a domain the other day, rapformations.com, because I was rapping the other day. I'm doing a new song, and I was rapping, and I started rapping some positive stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, dude, affirmations are way more fun to say when you can rap them, when they're right. And so I had this idea. So I got rapformations.com. So it's one of my 75 domains that may or may not ever turn into a website. But yeah, I was pumped up about it.
I gotta tell you, I'm excited for that. I can't wait till it actually happens.
Yeah, I think it would be cool for, like, I wanted to be a community where it wasn't like I wrote all the rap formations and I was like the man. It was like everybody came together, and there were different like areas like money and happiness and success and love and whatever, and people submitted their own rap formations, and we could have contests. And anyway, yeah, so
yeah, they could shoot a little quick YouTube video and send it on over, put it on the page.
YouTube video, good. That's why you're on my team, man. I was thinking text. Look at how archaic I am. I was thinking text. Yeah, YouTube would be way better. Good. All right, I'll have you manage that.
Okay, that's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. All right, so what were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about rap formations.
Before that?
No, we were on to you were reading off of your affirmation from your Facebook page.
Yeah. So if you want to go steal that, borrow it, model it, do that. But again, Nick, your question was, how do we change the conditioning, right? How do we recondition ourselves to complain less and be grateful more? And it's in writing. Have reminders, have affirmations, and the other one is journaling. So I would say reminders, which really are just affirmations. Like I have signs on my wall where it's a large font, so they're like short affirmations, like 1 or 2 sentences, right? And then an actual affirmation that you read that's a little bit longer. But then the final way is journaling. And journaling is the active way to express gratitude every single day. And just start your journaling every day with what you're grateful for. And I know some people that journal in the morning what they're grateful for, and then at the end of the day what they're grateful for. Something that I kind of developed, I never had heard it before, but something I started doing for myself is what I call advanced gratitude. And that's where you journal in the morning what you're grateful for that you're going to create that day. So instead of journaling what, I'm grateful if it happened, no, express gratitude based on the faith that you're going to make whatever you want to happen for the day. So express gratitude for, say, hey, whether it's you're praying and you're saying God, or you're just expressing it to yourself, I am grateful that first and foremost, today is going to be the best day of my life, period. I'm committed to that, so therefore, I'm grateful in advance that it's going to happen. I think advanced gratitude is a really powerful way to, use the power of intention to create the results that you want for your life, and feel the gratitude in advance for them. I think the universe rewards that too, that putting those good feelings out towards something, not of want or desire, not that those things are necessarily bad, but you're coming from a place of just humble gratitude. I think it has a different impact on what it puts out there in the universe. So,
yeah. And I just wanted this is one area that I'm struggling with a lot also. I want to really increase the amount of gratitude that I have in my life. And I just want to share a quick little tip that I found to be very useful these last couple months. Is I was listening to Michael Hyatt, I think it was, who mentioned this, but actually taking like a small little pebble, and so like one that I had in a flower pot here at home, I just took that small little pebble and put it in my jeans pocket. And so whenever I put my hand in my pocket, or I feel like whenever I touch that little rock, then think of something I'm grateful for.
Oh, I love it.
That happens probably 5-6 times a day easily. And so each time I pause, what am I grateful for in that exact moment? So what about that specific moment in time am I grateful for?
Nice. That's great. Yeah. And yeah, you could draw a G on it if you need, to remind you of it. Mm-hmm. And I know you can buy rocks that say the word gratitude on them, but they're probably kind of big for your pocket. And then one other thing, Nick, hold on. I'm looking for a book.
That's a nice shot right there, I just gotta say.
Yeah, whatever. I always get your crotch shots when you stand up from your computer. I don't know where the book is, but I can tell it to you. I've mentioned it before. It's one of my top 10 favorite. It is called Complaint-Free World. And I just recommended that to one of my best friends, and he texted me and he said, Hal, thank you so much for recommending this book. It is totally life-changing, and it really is. So if you have a problem with complaining, and by the way, even if you don't, like, I consider myself the most positive person I know, or like one of them, right? Totally. I strive to be the most positive I could possibly be. When I did the complaint-free challenge, it's similar where you put a wristband on. You know, if you complain, you have to switch it to the other wrist, and the goal is that you don't have to switch it for. First, you try to get to through one day, which is unbelievably hard. Even for me, I'm always complaining about something small, or I'm joking, or whatever, but it's negative. Anyway, and then you have to get 21 days without switching the wristband. That's the goal. But yeah, really the book is not that simplistic. It's not just, it's very like profound and insightful. It really, like I said, life-changing, one of my top 10 favorite books of all time, A Complaint-Free World by, I believe, Will Bowen is the author.
And that'll definitely be in show notes, which you can find at halelrod.com/026 for episode 26.
6, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Hal, what do you actually struggle with when in terms of getting you away from gratitude? What is maybe an example in your life of a time when you've struggled, and how do you actually go about kind of switching that maybe in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's gotten me out of it is when I've going through tough times, when things aren't going your way and you're struggling, or whatever it's financial, or you lose somebody important to you, or whatever. When life doesn't feel fair, and life's not fair. Life just is what it is, and you make the best of it. That's right. That's it. But I think those are the toughest times, and when I've gotten pulled out of gratitude. And ironically, those are the times that you need gratitude the most. Those are the times that you've got to focus on what you're grateful for to help manage your mindset, so that you don't, want to smash your head against a wall because you're so whatever. Gratitude is what can really keep you grounded and centered. And another book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Man's Search for Meaning, and I quote this book all the time, but he was a Nazi concentration camp survivor, victim/survivor. He was in a concentration camp, watching his friends die every day. Not really having much hope that he would ever see his wife and kids again. And he made the decision that he was going to be the happiest person at the concentration camp, that he was going to focus on all that he had to be grateful for. And it was little things like that he could breathe, right? It was that he had, a place to sleep on, even though it was the ground, It was that he had another human to have a conversation with. It was that he had grateful for just the memories of someone else, of his wife and his kids. And sometimes it really can help to get perspective by imagining whatever it is that you have in your life that maybe you should be more grateful for, or that you're taking for granted. Imagine it being removed from your life, and feel the pain of what that would feel like if somebody you cared about, or something that you cared about, your job, whatever. Right? I always think about people that complain about their jobs. I'm like, dude, you know how many millions of Americans would love to have your job, and you're complaining about it, right? They're unemployed, they can't pay their bills, they're losing their house, right? I mean, you think about it, most of the things, right, complaining and gratitude cannot coexist. And many of the things that we complain about, other people would be grateful to have those things, right? The things that we call our problems, they would be grateful to have those problems in their lives, because it means they'd have something they don't even have now.
Yeah, that's so true. So Hal, let's kind of, we've gave a few tactics and strategies. Let's really take it kind of to the ground level here for our listeners. Let's say we have some listeners out there who are really struggling with the whole gratitude concept. Maybe they find themselves complaining a lot, and they really want to start making that switch. What are some things that they can do this right away here in these next 7 days before the next podcast episode comes out to start really shifting that mindset?
Yeah, I would just go do the things that I just said to do. You know, put this quote, print it out on a big piece of paper, and put it on the wall. You know, gratitude and complaining cannot coexist simultaneously. And I would just edit the quote, say I choose the one that best serves me. You know, and then if you need a reminder in parentheses, write the word gratitude. Right? Mm-hmm. I choose the one that best serves me, and you're like, and so in case you forget which one it is, just write down gratitude or highlight it gratitude or whatever. And then take that affirmation. Go to my Facebook page. Take that affirmation, and put that in your affirmations. Read it each day. Print it out. Write it out, and then write in your journal. This is my journal. My journal is my iPad, and I use the Day One app. Nick, can we get sponsors? I recommend so much stuff that I use, man. Can we get sponsors?
We might have to look into that, especially
Let's get Apple to sponsor.
Yeah.
And UFC to sponsor.
Yeah, free tickets and free gear.
Definitely. Yeah, and the Day One journaling app to sponsor all these authors that I always promote, whose books I love. No, what was I gonna say? I don't remember. But anyway, so put a sign on the wall. Do what Nick said. Put that pebble in your pocket, and every time you touch it, just hold it, and think. Close your eyes and think, what am I grateful for? And then write in your journal each day. Write in your journal every day 3 things you're grateful, or 1 thing. It could be one thing. What are you going to focus on being? You can even, that's actually a unique way to do it. Instead of writing down what you're grateful for in your journal and then closing your journal and not thinking about it again, how about you write down every day 1 thing that you're going to focus all day long throughout the day on being grateful for. And maybe you combine that with the pebble activity. This is just a cool idea, right? And that like you have the pebble right when you, in your journal, put down, today I'm going to be grateful for my wife, right? Or my son, or my daughter, or my job, or, Nick Palkowski, or whatever, right? And, right, and then every time I touch this pebble, look at the pebble and go, every time I touch this pebble, I'm going to think about how grateful I am and feel how grateful I am for my blank. And then put it in your pocket, and then make that your focus all day and intensely be grateful. Oh, and then I almost forgot. The most important, possibly, strategy or technique for expressing more gratitude or being more grateful in your life is to actively express it. I'm remembering now this gratitude video I did. You could probably find it on YouTube somewhere. I did it for a Miracle Morning Challenge a few years ago. But I talked about being grateful. So there's advanced gratitude, which is where you express gratitude, like in your journal, for things you intend to manifest in your life that day. And then there's active gratitude, which is expressing gratitude to another person so that they can receive it. And when you give gratitude to somebody, you get to experience it too. That's like the neat thing, right? If you give, it's kind of like I read something today, how, if you take a candle, you can use 1 candle to light 1,000 other candles. And by giving off its flame, that candle doesn't lose anything. And gratitude is the same way, just like love is the same way. You can give gratitude and express it to 1,000 other people, and not only does it not deplete your gratitude, it actually replenishes your gratitude. It fills your gratitude up. And so I encourage you to, whatever you're grateful for that day, if you want to keep it simple, in your journal, advanced gratitude, write down 1 thing in your journal that you're grateful for, that you're going to focus on that day. Take a pebble, put it in your pocket, and then call that person. Somehow express it if you can. If it's another human being. If it's your job, then here's an idea. If it's your job, if you're expressing gratitude for your work or your car or whatever, then when you're doing your job that day, not only feel grateful for it every moment of that day, that work day, but actually give your best, right? If you're really grateful for something, then you freaking show up for that thing, right? If you're grateful for your husband or your wife or your kids, like, the way you really express gratitude is not only telling them, it's being the most, I'm so grateful for you, I'm going to be the best parent you've ever could have imagined, right? I'll be the best spouse because I'm so grateful for you. It's the least I could do to express my gratitude. I just want to give to you. All right, man. I'm going to pop a vein in my head, Nick. It's too intense. So that's what I got. That's your assignment if you're watching. Express gratitude. Write it down, read it, feel it, live it, just make it, drive around in the gratitude mobile and give your best at whatever you're grateful for, because whatever you're grateful for, whether it's your job or your spouse or your child, it or they deserve nothing less from you.
Wow, Hal, that was a very passionate message, and I think great action tips for our listeners, and something I definitely think they're going to start implementing right away as soon as they hear this podcast.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for hosting again, buddy.
Yeah, so Hal, any final words to send us off?
I'm grateful for you, Nick, and I'm grateful for all of our viewers and all of our listeners. And wait, here's some advanced gratitude. I am grateful in advance for you leaving a comment below the video and clicking the like button to like it on Facebook, and then clicking the Twitter button to tweet it out to your friends, and or the Google Plus button. I know that's a lot to ask, but all of that together will take you like 1 to 2 minutes. You leave a quick comment saying, great podcast, you click the like button, you click the Twitter button, and then you click the Google Plus button if you have it. And then boom, you shared it, you express, I mean, it's beautiful. But in the comments, leave one thing you're grateful for. What are you most grateful for, or just what are you grateful for? It doesn't have to be the most grateful, just what are you grateful for? Express it, share it below, and that's a great way to start expressing gratitude and making it public.
Awesome, Hal. Thank you so much.
In fact, I'm going to go to my wife's right now, her Facebook page, and I'm going to tell her how grateful I am for her right now. So I got to go. Take care, everybody.
And thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and like Hal mentioned, if you found value in it, please share this podcast with others. We'd be truly grateful. And you can find this episode as well as all the show notes at halelrod.com/026 for episode 26. And I have a very special announcement before we go, and that is that next week, our episode of the podcast is actually going to be live. We're going to do our first live Google Hangout. So if you want to participate, you can join in that conversation. They'll actually be happening on Monday. And if you happen to be listening to this in a couple weeks after it first came out, you can go to halelrod.com/live and find out when our next live episode is. We'll always have the date there, and you can actually join there, ask questions while we're recording the podcast, things like that. So it's a great way to allow you to help participate and help create these future podcast episodes. So I highly encourage you all to go to halelrod.com/live and check that out. But until then, until next time, go out and take life head on.
Miracle Morning. This is a collaboration with Kosher Dills and Yo Pal. Time to wake up, ship out, or shape up. It's all about the number 8, no time to wait up. It's time to save the life you deserve to live. We got words for adults, words for the kids. Don't worry about the biz, just be passionate. Don't be so uptight, just relax a bit. Dress for success, that's my fashion tip. Yeah, Yo Pal, how, who I'm rapping with. We gonna work on a discipline, hope you were listening. Miracle Morning every day, I'ma get it in. See, it's all about the mind state that you're living in. Look in the mirror, I'ma get it in, get it in. Sometimes we got hard times, we make it in. Yo Pal, how, keep it real, never faking it. You either do or you don't. You know what I'm saying, kid? It's a movement, an awakening. It's the Miracle Morning. Wake up and stop snoring. Life's too short to be boring. Get up and stop snoring. It's the Miracle Morning. Wake up and stop snoring. Life's too short to be boring. Get up and start soaring.
If you want to wake up to your full potential, the Miracle Morning is so essential. If you're wondering what's my credentials, check my website on the instrumental. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm high on life, so I don't smoke joints. Wake up in the morning, sometimes before dawn. Tired or not, I'm taking life head on. Cause I start with meditation, then read my affirmations. Close my eyes for some visualization. Then I read, exercise, and I write in my journal. People say life's too short, nah, it's eternal. It's early to bed, early to rise. It makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise. Used to sell Cutco to fulfill my potential. Sometimes to realtors, but mostly residential.
It's the Miracle Morning. Wake up and stop snoring. Life's too short to be boring. Get up and stop soaring. It's the Miracle Morning. Wake up and stop snoring. Life's too short to be boring. Get up and start soaring.
Yeah, this is Yo Pal Hal. You deserve an extraordinary life. It's It's time to wake up to your full potential.